on a Friday morning. Netflix are cracking down on password sharing. The move comes after the streaming giant discovered over 100 million users were sharing their passwords with people out with their household. Users will now have to splash out an extra $4.99 a month if they want to let a person they don't live with use their account. But could this be a step too far for subscribers during the cost of living crisis? Let's talk about this first with broadcaster and futurist Andrew Eborn, who's on the line this morning. Andrew, morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm fine today, thanks for asking. Why is this happening now? Why are Netflix acting now, Andrew?
Well, it's very simple. As you rightly say, what's happened, they've got about 233 million subscribers around the world. And they've estimated that 100 million of those have basically been sharing their password. And what the rules are is that you're allowed to use Netflix for anybody within one household, and the people actually living with you. But what's been happening in reality is that people have got their friends and family in other households. And what Netflix have said is, look, we recognise there's a cost of living crisis. There's a choice about heating or eating, as we've sort of spoken about. And they've tried all sorts of different business models to make that make sense. So, for example, in November, they introduced an advertiser-supported subscription rate, which brought it down to £4.99 per month. But they've been losing subscribers at a horrendous rate. For example, about 500,000 subscribers in the UK were apparently lost in 2022. And trying to put the sort of positive spin on it rather than the sort of negative one, what they're trying to say is, look, we recognise there's a business model here where you want to share your password. What we're trying to do is introduce a method by which you can do that. So you've got the way, basically, you can add somebody to your account and you can pay an extra £4.99 if they, in fact, live in a different household.
Happily for us, you're also a barrister. So what are the legals on this, Andrew? Where does legality sit?
I'll tell you, I always love the sentence where you say, happily for us, we're a barrister. That's got to be good. The reality is this, is that under any sort of a service that you provide, you have terms and conditions, most of which people don't read. But those terms and conditions, it's like any other contract. It governs the basis upon which you can use those services. So what Netflix have done in their terms and conditions, they say that basically you're allowed to use Netflix in one household. And they therefore, if you don't use it in just one household, you're technically in breach of those terms and conditions. But rather than turning around and penalising people for that, they recognise there is a business model here and say, look, if you want to add an extra member, this is what you can do. And that's the reason it works on that sort of basis. It's basically contractual. Those contractual terms work on that sort of premise. But what they've now got here in the UK, they've got 4 different levels, if you like. You've got the standard, which is the one with adverts, which they say start in November last year for $4.99. You have the basic, which is $6.99. You then have standard, which is $10.99, and premium, and which is basically the highest rate, which is $15.99. Each of those gives you different sort of rights. So you get 1 extra member you can add with standard for basically 2 with premium. And it basically covers the different devices that you can use if you've got lots of different devices in the same household and so on and so forth. Okay. What's interesting is exactly that, is the effect it's going to have. So they've introduced this around the world. So in Spain, for example, they started charging them an extra €5.99 for the additional account, and they lost more than 1 million subscribers in the first 3 months of the year, according to Kantar. So it's going to be interesting to see what the impact is being. Yeah. They sort of hope that people will be coming back and see the long-term effect.
Right, let's dig into that now. Andrew, thanks for your time this morning. Marketing expert Finn Wycherley joins us for this as well. Finn, morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
What impact do you think it's going to have?
Obviously, there's going to be a big loss in subscribers as everybody gets pretty teed off with everything that's happening. But Canada had this situation arising back in February, and they've already had a growth in everyday users and subscribers and revenue as a result. So while there was lots of changes in Spain and they lost a significant amount of subscribers, eventually come the winter evenings and the evenings get a bit dull, then I'm sure people will be coughing up their £4.99 in return for a whole month full of entertainment.
Is there a risk also, Finn, that it pushes people towards illegal services, illegal downloads and streaming as well?
I think the vast majority of people are a kind of good, honest folk. You're always going to have a certain percentage of the population who are going to be a wee bit dodgy, a wee bit fly, and that's going to apply whether you're online or in the real world, as they say.
Is it an opportunity for some of the other streaming services who are out there at the moment and looking for, market share to try and push into this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Amazon, Disney, they're all squeezing into the revenue of Netflix as much as possible. But hey, it's a competitive marketplace. Netflix did manage to establish themselves as one of the leading streaming services, and a lot of competitors have come into the market. Them's the breaks. Once you have a fantastically successful business, you have to accept there's going to be a lot of competitors coming in trying to scrape off some of your market share, and they're obviously winning. So this is the only way that they can actually make sure that they continue to remain in profit and service their subscribers as well as their shareholders.
Interesting. Finn, thanks so much for your time. Finn Wycherley, there's a marketing expert, and we also heard from Andrew Eborn as well, broadcaster and futurist on that. Right, the next hour of the show is our gardening phone-in. Get your questions in now for Nicholas Singleton. The advice here is free. All you have to do is text us your questions on 80295.